Hey everybody, this is the weekly forecast commencing on Monday, April the 1st, 2024. April the 1st, it's April Fool's Day, but this is no joke because Mercury, decision-making Mercury, goes retrograde April the 1st until April the 25th. But also, next Monday, April the 8th, will be a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of fiery Aries. Last week, on the 25th of March, was the full moon lunar eclipse. So we're in the middle of the eclipse season when there's a lot of instability, a lot of changes happening. But one rule of thumb is you don't want to do anything important like launch a new business, etc., especially the week before a new moon. I say this every month because the new moon energy from the previous one is winding down that last week before the next new moon, next Monday. But the next new moon is not just a regular new moon, it's a solar eclipse. So there's a real darkening of the light. There's a lot of information that's hidden that will be revealed in time, which is why you don't want to make important life-changing decisions during the eclipse period, but especially this week. Even the first week after the solar eclipse next Monday, but especially this week, because it's a winding down of the energies from the last new moon, and next week starts to wind up and gear up the new energies, but you got to give it a week because of the eclipse. Plus Mercury, at the same time, is retrograde now, April the 1st till April the 25th. So, there's a lot of do's and don'ts with Mercury in retrograde, especially emphasized because especially the first 2 weeks of April with Mercury in retrograde, and we're under the shadow and the hidden turbulent energies of the eclipses. But before I break down all the do's and don'ts of Mercury and retrograde, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. And if you go into the description box underneath the video, you'll find direct links to sign up for my free daily message or how to book an astrology reading. All right. Mercury is the planet of information, communications. In general, when communication Mercury is retrograde for about 3 weeks, 3 times a year, it's a lot of readjusting, revising, many times losing things, mistakes, misunderstandings. You've heard all this mantra. So let's go through the do's during Mercury in retrograde. You need to double check all your communications, verifying your emails, your texts, your messages for accuracy. Misunderstandings are really likely during this time. Back up your data. Because with Mercury in retrograde, there could be technical snafus, power outages. So just make sure to back up all your data. Review contracts and agreements. Take extra care when signing contracts or making important agreements. You often are heard over the years from other astrologers, do not sign contracts. But because you're being locked in to the commitment and you may not have all the right information. Well, that's true to a certain extent, but it's also, sometimes we're forced to sign a contract, for a lease on an apartment. So it is just really be very careful with a fine-tooth comb, and maybe with a lawyer, really review any contracts and agreements. Also, be patient. Mercury can represent the nervous system, all this anxious, fluctuating energy. So you want to practice patience. You want to reflect and revise. You want to focus on wrapping up any existing projects. And you want to maintain open communications, to be clear and honest in your communications with others. What you don't want to do during Mercury in retrograde, and especially these first 2 weeks because of the eclipse season, avoid making major purchases. Postpone these purchases, especially technical ones, electronic ones, because you could have buyer's remorse. Refrain from signing contracts. There could be miscommunications or hidden clauses that could cause complications. But if you have to, really reread that contract several times. Limit travel plans. Minimizing traveling, because Mercury retrograde, you might be being forced, there might be delays. You might have to change your itinerary. Traveling may be much more frustrating than usual. Avoid launching new projects, new ventures, new initiatives. I have seen so many times when people start a new job and everything looks fine, but then during the retrograde period, or even soon afterwards, like even a month or two later, their expectations, Mercury, of what they thought the job was going to entail is not what it turns out to be. And then sometimes the job starting during Mercury retrograde doesn't last, or you're disappointed because you were expecting one thing and you got another. Be very cautious of technology, new software, new computers. Things could get really complicated, and refrain from making really impulsive decisions. Well, you've heard all this before, but I want to make sure that you've been reminded that's a Mercury in retrograde, because with Mercury in retrograde, we so easily can forget the details. Now, let's start with April the 1st. One more thing about Mercury in retrograde, thinking about April the 1st. The day or two before and after Mercury changes directions is when you usually see more of the mishaps. Around the 25th, when Mercury now goes direct. A couple of days before the 25th, a couple of days afterwards, again, when Mercury is changing directions is when you are more prone to the misunderstandings, forgetting things, losing things, being all these misunderstandings. All right, with all that said, and it's Monday, April the 1st, the moon is in Capricorn. Well, this could be a good thing, because Capricorn is very grounded, organized, sensible, and so you want this grounding energy with all this flexible, changing energies happening. And late morning Pacific time, around 12 p.m., the moon that sets the public tone will be in harmony with Mars. So the moon, Mars, you're feeling assertive, but because Mercury is going retrograde And also, because you're in between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, you absolutely do not want to, if at all possible, initiate any major new project. But that Moon Mars could compel you, energize you, motivate you to finish up and complete a project. Mercury in retrograde is pretty good for wrapping up and letting it go and putting a bow on it and say, got that job well done. The opposite is launching new projects, and that's a big no-no. Wrapping up projects, that could be a good thing. On Tuesday, the 2nd, now the moon in Capricorn, nothing else is impacting between the planets, but the moon will be in harmony with innovative, progressive Uranus late morning, 10:11 a.m. Pacific time. This could be very favorable of Uranus helping to reinvent yourself, shake things up. The moon in Capricorn the moon can be very habitual. And Capricorn really locked into this is the way it's always been done and convention. But now with that moon in traditional Capricorn, in harmony with non-traditional Uranus, you can shake things up. You can think out of the box. You can bring in some new perspective. On Wednesday, the moon is now in Aquarius for 2.5 days. Capricorn, the public tone in Capricorn is more tradition. When the moon goes into Aquarius, the public is more open to non-traditional energies, more alternative energies. Moon in Aquarius, there's much more open to new ideas, new technology, or like holistic medicine, as opposed when the moon's in Capricorn, taking the more traditional route with your regular medical doctor is one example. Aquarius rules friendships and groups. The moon is this emotional bonding. When the moon is in Aquarius once a month, you're more open to hanging out with friends, expanding your social circle, attending group activities. Venus is the planet of socializing and love and peace and creativity. Venus is in Pisces, its exalted sign. The best of Venus wants to unfold because the best of Venus is in the arts, in beauty, creativity, romance. But on Wednesday the 3rd, as Venus is in exalted Pisces, it's going to be crossing over Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Venus-Neptune is very romantic, very creative. This selfless, more open to unconditional love and acceptance. This can be a creative peak. This can be a day of romance, falling in love. This very dreamy energies, highly creative, imaginative energies. Thursday, the 4th, now the moon in Aquarius, quirky, innovative Aquarius, is going to be in a hard angle to expansive Jupiter, 8-9 a.m. Pacific time. Little Jupiter is optimism, it's luck, it's expansiveness. But when the emotional public moon is in a hard angle to Jupiter, there might be too much of a desire to overinflate and overdo and overspend. Now, you might have a smile on your face, as I often say, but you could be overdoing it. You could regret it, spend too much money. And in the early afternoon, 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, Now the moon is also in a hard angle to unpredictable Uranus. There might be some emotional upsets with that moon Uranus. Some unexpected emotional surprises with the moon Uranus. In the positive, Uranus is this liberating energies. The moon in Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. This is why moon in Aquarius, there's more of this progressive energy in hard angle to Uranus. This could be a very favorable time period, early afternoon, Pacific time, to let go of old patterns, old stuck patterns, old bad habits. By 9 p.m. Pacific time, Venus, creative Venus, pleasurable romantic Venus that has been aligned with Neptune, all that romantic energies. But at 9 p.m., the Venus is moving past the Neptune and moving into the sign of Aries, where Venus in Pisces for the few weeks prior can be this unconventional, loving, dreamy energies. Great for romance, great for creativity. When Venus goes into Aries, Aries now it's more about the self and independence. Venus in Pisces, especially with Neptune, you want to merge, you want to lose yourself. You could lose yourself in a movie, in a book. But when you could also, if you're in a relationship, you could start just giving away and losing yourself in the relationship as you're feeling that it's your soulmate and you're becoming one with this person, but you're losing your identity, maybe. But then when Venus moves into Aries, Aries is really fiery and independent. And so the interesting thing when Venus is in Aries, and you want maybe more independence, more space, doing more of your own thing. But when Venus is in Aries, dealing with relationships and the love life, I've found that Aries is the warrior, ruled by Mars, very passionate, assertive energies. So during the Venus in Aries, for the next couple of weeks, there's more of a desire to really enjoy the chase, but often getting bored once you win the race. If you're pursuing somebody with Venus in Aries, that's all that excitement. But after the person you're pursuing says yes, you may not be so interested. Very interesting with Venus in Aries. On Friday, the moon is now in Pisces. Again, the moon is the general public tone, reactions, goes into Pisces 4:13 a.m. Pacific time. That moon in Pisces, emotionally, we're more from the heart, more intuitive, more empathetic. When the moon was in Aquarius, we're more in our heads, we're more intellectual. Late evening, 10, 11 p.m. Pacific time, which means a lot of people around the world will probably be sleeping, but that sensitive moon in Pisces will be crossing fiery Mars. Well, there could be late Friday night. A lot of people are still up and going out partying and what have you. There could be a lot of passion on the positive, arguments on the negative. If you're sleeping, some of you might have more restlessness with sleeping, or your sleeping may get disrupted. Saturday the 6th, the moon continues in sensitive, nurturing Pisces, but it's going to be in harmony with progressive, innovative Uranus, mid-afternoon Pacific time. Again, that could bring in some emotional excitement, shake things up, But the moon many times has a lot to do with our habits. And Uranus is really favorable for getting us out of a rut. So mid-afternoon Saturn could be very favorable for try to break an old habit or try to get into something new and different. But all day, romantic, pleasurable Venus will be in harmony with powerful transformational Pluto. And as we're going into a Saturday night, and the moon is in sensitive, empathetic Pisces, and here's pleasurable romantic Venus in favorable to compulsive, intense Pluto. That Venus-Pluto going into a Saturday night, you could be falling in love, or you're dating somebody and you're realizing you want more. This is becoming deeper. You could also just have a strong desire to have much more intimacy, so much more connection. So either dating is going to the next level. If you're in a relationship, this Saturday night could be, if you want some more romance, take your partner out, even if it's just for a walk. Just bring in the intimacy. On Sunday, the 7th, the day before the next new moon solar eclipse, it's called the real dark phase of the moon. Best for reflecting, it's really not a good time to initiate any new actions. But on Sunday, the moon leaves sensitive Pisces and moves into fiery Aries at 4:25 a.m. So you're going to be feeling a lot of restlessness, got things to do, but the eclipse in Aries doesn't happen till Monday. But on Sunday, mid-morning, 9:10 a.m. Pacific time, that emotional bonding moon in fiery and patient Aries is crossing over the love planet Venus in Aries. That's this emotional bonding. And that might be because of Saturday night or during the day on Saturday with the love planet Venus being influenced by this intensity of Pluto. You could be waking up the next day on Sunday and feel like you're in love, or that you have really connected to your partner on a deeper, more intimate level. I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next time, be safe and well.